Hi everybody, my name is Shannon. Welcome to my channel, Another Yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. It's my Monday morning video, and what I do on my Monday morning video is talk about all the things that I worked on the previous week. Some of them were great successes. I have a couple finished projects, yes, and some were not so successful. I get to undo everything I did, and I was so proud of me. See, that's what I get for being proud, right? But I was so happy, I was so thrilled. It's a project that has been languishing for quite some time, and I have been called out about it more than once. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna work on it. It's gonna be a thing. So part of the thing, let's see, I've got some stuff that I personally, let me move this over. Here's my bag of scraps, or at least one of them. I personally find this is pretty successful. Look at this. That are the scrap ends of all the things that I got to weave in this week. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if you've watched a bit and you recognize some of those colors, you know what's coming, what's going on and everything. So that's my ends pile. Is everything woven in? No. Let's not get crazy. But I'm feeling pretty good because, you know, that's a lot of ends right there. Yeah, I did some stuff. I'll put these in the bag. My granddaughters play with these. They do their crafts with them. I stuff critters with them, stuff, you know, amigurumi and such. So there you have it. I got another bag around here somewhere that oh, I know where it's at. Yeah, they've been playing with it. So some of the stuff that I was working on with that and having fun and, you know, doing all those ends is I was sitting there working on this blanket, and I am working on my third border round right here. It'll take more than the full cake to do one round, you know, one border round and everything, because the last round took more, and well, this is a bigger round. So there we have it, and I'm liking this. This is the Big Twist Rave yarn. It's 312 yards for 150 grams, 100% premium acrylic. It's a number 4 worsted weight yarn. It comes in all these great bright colors. That's what this is. The whole thing is here. There. So on this, you know, and I don't have a picture of it with it just completely laid out as is. I am 1.5 rounds of the border right now. See? And it goes into this. You see this nice break here? Yeah, I wasn't happy about that either. I wanted it to transition the whole cake, and it had a knot there, so of course I snipped it as opposed to leaving it and letting it unravel, and then continued on this far. And then there was another knot, and you can see with that color break, it wasn't gonna, you know, even if I did leave this in and decide I'm gonna just weave in that many, this is the solid, pretty solid purple. There's not a whole lot of the pink in there because it does gradiate, and then went to here. So wasn't happy with that, but just went with it. I mean, it is what it is. This is my only issue that I've had, and I've gone through multiple cakes of this yarn to have that. I don't remember others, and if there were others, it wasn't a back-to-back. It wasn't like, hey, here's a knot, here's the other knot, right? So I just cut this piece out. This will go in my scrap bag for the girls to play with. And there you go. But, oh well. So this is gonna go to my oldest son. It is growing. I think I might do another border on it. And I don't know which color to choose. I'm leaning towards the orange to yellow. This one right here is the orange to pink. Let me get to where we can see it. See there, it's coming into the pink right here. And yeah, so it went orange to pink right there. That's the same skein, right? So we got that all the way around, and I really like how that transitions, like how this one, this nice hot green and that blue, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So I've got that, and I was thinking of doing the orange to yellow, which is what this is. It'll turn to yellow like that. That was an orange to yellow square. So are these, obviously the yellow portion. Really liking that. I don't want to use one of the black ones. I don't want black on the outside. Now I could just get the Big Twist Value solid black. I do have that, and I could do that around it, but I was wanting to keep it the same yarn. I mean, it's still an acrylic. I mean, but this is a roving style acrylic. Pretty sure it'd be the same gauge. I could just border it in black and be done with it. My other son was asking, you know, am I going to give him a black light with it? I don't know. I'm pretty sure, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure something in here is going to fluoresce. That is really, really bright. And the big guy is like 6'5". He and his wife are not, you know, tiny little petite people. So a big blanket, not a bad idea. And yes, you can see I've got a bunch of other ends. Yeah, that's fine. I sat there and wove in ends for quite a while earlier today. I got myself a big old pile. I call that a win. Blanket's not done. The ends don't need to be done quite yet. So I am in that mood to start kind of working on some of those things, you know, getting excited. It's like, oh, it's getting close. It's getting close. So hopefully that'll transition to some of the others, because I do have some other blankets that don't have their ends woven in either. So definitely time to do that. So here we go. This is a win. It's still a work in progress, but it's definitely a win. Would have liked to have finished the full cake this week, but that's okay. You know, we had company over, we had friends over, we did some stuff. That's okay. There was still progress. And that is, and this I don't have to rip out. Okay. Beyond that purple bit that I crocheted up, I don't have to rip this out. This is, it is what it is. So I'm happy about that. So that is a good win for me. Do you want me to show you the loos before I show you the finished things? Because I do have a couple finished things I'm quite proud of. So the, oh my gosh, I lost it, you know, is something with these colors. Do you remember these colors? Do you remember what I was working with these colors? Yes, yes, you do. My granddaughter's sweater. Now you get to hear the sad tale. So what I did is I got this out of hibernation, and I took and I attached the armholes. Got it. That's good, because, you know, I left the underarms right there, so they were big gaping holes, and all the ends were still attached and hanging off of it, and it was really kind of unsightly, but that's okay. You know, I mean, I wasn't done with it. You know, so I did all of the tidying. Let me move that needle out of the way. I did all, look at that. Isn't that pretty? So I did all the tidying of it. This is a new end where I attached another ball of yarn, but I don't have a bunch of ends hanging off of it. It's beautiful. It's got that wonderful color work. This is the back. And I started to do the neck, and look at that. So that right there, isn't that pretty? It's gorgeous. I am just absolutely in love with it. I've got 2 sets of 7s going, since I did the overlap, and it's just really hard right there, you know, to start one row and finish the other on the same set of needles. So I've got the 2 sets. I'm doing good. I'm doing the color work on the purl side, which, yeah, I got to pay attention to, right? You know, to make sure that I get the colors lined up, because that's what I'm seeing. You know, I'm like, what is that? That's a mess in itself, you know, to try to figure out the pattern. So I'm going along and I'm excited. I'm like, I want a couple more rows and then I'll get on, because I haven't done anything on this sweater in quite some time. So I wanted it to be a impactful, look how much I've gotten done. And then I was admiring my work. I should have admired it sooner. Admiring my work and seeing, look how beautiful that is. And can you see it? Can you see my problem? I'm off by 4 stitches in the center. So this is supposed to be the center of the neck, and it's not. I can't fix it without ripping all of it out that I've done. So everything that I did today, and so proud of myself for picking up her sweater. Well, I guess I got some progress. All the ends that I woven in, those don't have to be taken out. The underarm seams are completely done. That's good. So it's just the knitting portion that has to be ripped out. So I mean, I still made progress on it. Okay, there, you know, I can take solace in that. There's still progress on it. I don't have to take out everything I've done. I don't have to undo the weaving, but I do have to pull this back, because, you know, this side has less stitches than this side. It's not even. And it's not off by 1 stitch, it's off by 4. And my husband's like, well, how did you do that? You know, I mean, you're a good knitter. How did you do it? Because I counted to the center and then started the placard. Yeah, you know, the center, and then started it. Like, yeah, okay, of course it's going to be off. You know, you've got to go to the center and put the placard in the center. So some stitches on this side and some stitches on this side. Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. I didn't do that. I got so excited, so carried away. I had just woven at all the ends and I was feeling pretty accomplished, but I wanted to have some knitting done on it. I wanted it to get closer to that neck, because once I do some more of those raglan decreases, I'm not sure how many more rows from here I would have cut the green and just finished the rest of it in just pink, because the idea is to do a hooded sweater and the hood itself is going to be in the pink. Everything else was the all over color work for her sweater. And we are expecting, or at least a 30% chance of snow Wednesday. So it's getting chilly. I mean, it might warm back up and everything else. It's Colorado. We go warm, cold, get it. But we might get our first snow where I live Wednesday. Colorado's gotten snow already, but not in my neighborhood. So, you know, Granddaughter might want her sweater. So I thought, you know, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to just do it. Stop making excuses, because it's in the cute bag. I mean, this is where it's been living, in my nice little bunny hat bag, and I just haven't touched it and haven't wanted to, because, well, I had to make decisions and do things. You know how that goes. I'm like, you know, I just wanted to knit. All right, but at least I don't have to take out all the weaving portion. It still, today, right now, still looks better than it did before I picked it up. It is more of a finished sweater. I just have to take out that color knitting portion. And because it is color work like that, I'm not going to just rip it out and then try to pick up all the stitches with my needle. That sounds terrible. That does. So you know what that means? That means I get to unknit that 6 to 8 rows, 1 stitch at a time. Yeah, you know, certain things, you know, you can put the needle in the stitches and then rip it out and everything, and anything you might have gotten part of the stitch or whatever, you can correct. Got it. Yeah, I'm not sure. So I'll be unknitting. Just, yeah, there you go. Want to see a win? Because that's disheartening. Let's do a win. Let's do a win. Since we just talked about the little bunny, I had put on up earlier in the week, or last week, a pattern. It was free for a day. It was free for the first day that I put it up. Not my design, bunny tails. Look at that. It is a hat pattern. This is supposed to be made out of an Aran weight yarn and a lace weight to equal a bulky weight. Well, I used 2 skeins of, or 2 ends, right, of the Red Heart brushed yarn. So two threads of worsted weight, put them together, and I knit it on 8s and 10s, and it is the cutest thing. I am so in love with that big, huge bobble as the tail. That is fantastic. So the pattern itself it is paid for, and it is paid for right now, but the pattern itself has options for a ribbed border or a rolled border, and it also has options to knit flat or knit in the round. Yeah, so I was just scrolling up and down on that pattern. There's a lot of pages, but it, you know, if you're wanting to make a certain thing, you can print it out, you can highlight it, you can do whatever. So I started this with a ribbing, not intentionally, but I did. So I just left it and then finished the rest kind of rolled brim. So that's why my brim looks the way that it does. It's fine. I plan on making this hat again with different yarn. I just wanted to see the mechanics of it. I just wanted to make it, and I wanted it fuzzy. And this is soft and warm and fuzzy, and I'll use different yarns. Am I going to use a chunky again, a big yarn? Maybe. I don't know. I do have some big yarns. They're like a novelty in my yarn stash, and I have friends who love big yarn. I'm sure if I asked them, they'd be more than happy to share. It's just how that works. So this one I call an absolute win. You know, it's a little kid's hat, but you get the idea, right? I mean, it's not mine. That kind of looks funny. It looks like one of those balloons you stick over your head. But look at that tail. And obviously you don't have to wear it in the front, but if I put it on within the back, you can't see it. So I just had to show it like that. So really adorable. I've not seen anything else like that. It's just, I think it's 3 cable crossings. That's it. Now they're big cable crossings, but just 3. So if you're a knitter and you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And for that matter, I wonder if I could crochet it. because you know we can do crocheted cables. I mean, I did crocheted cables years before I ever learned how to knit. We can do that. Oh, I might have to try that, doing a crocheted cable just to see, because I already do crocheted bobbles, right? Yeah, I can do a big, huge crocheted bobble and crochet. Ooh, that sounds like a challenge. All right, so that's one hat I got done, and another one, really excited, I got this one done. Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so pretty. And then look at the decreases on that. Isn't that gorgeous? That is just so pretty. Absolutely loving this. That is, let me reach over and grab that. That is, this yarn is the main color of it. And this is a fingering weight yarn. I like my fingering weight yarns. This is 30% baby alpaca, 30% merino wool, 20% bamboo viscose, 20% nylon, 100 grams for 402 yards. That is the main color. And the other one is one of the Zauberball Edition 3. And I just had some leftovers from a previous hat and used it and love the effect. And that one is a superwash merino. So this is stunning. Absolutely love it. And both of my boys, my adult sons liked this. They were over earlier today. Look at that. And they're like, ooh, what's the design on it? And I'm like, well, it's just kind of a random design. And it does look like one of the logos they do online games, online video type games. It does look like a logo to that. Looks like a little bit of a face right here. And another one of them kind of said that it looked like the potion symbol in one of their games. So they both liked it. They really did. I think the oldest one might end up getting it if he's still interested in it, because it's not double lined. Yeah, my middle son, he likes the double lined hats, which I've done for him in the past. And he walks the dog at the sub-zero weathers and everything else. I mean, doesn't matter, rain, snow, sleet, hail, it does not matter. That dog gets walked. And it's cold. I mean, we are in Colorado. It does get cold. So he likes the double lined hat. And this is not double lined. The older son has hair my length. He doesn't care. The hair's in the way, everything else. He's like, nope, this is good enough. So he really likes that. So what I was looking at for that is, yeah, that's 120 stitches. And that pink thread is provisionally cast on. So I'm going to keep those stitches. And the reason you do that is you want those stitches to be live stitches. So this is provisionally cast on with a crochet hook. See? You can see that pink right there. You can see the chain. Yeah, so it's provisionally cast on with a crochet hook all the way around. So I can get those stitches again. I'm losing it. There we go. So I can pick those stitches back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just knit, and I've got this on 2.5, size 2.5 needles, small needles, right? And I'm going to knit about that much, you know, that'll go around the ear. There you go, not an issue. And then I'm going to do a purl row, which will be that nice turning clean line. And I'll change my needle sizes to size 4. That's what this was made with. And then I'll continue knitting the hat. And what I'll do is once I get to the same length, so if I were to do this type of a hat, I could still, you know, do this with the just plain if I wanted to. But once I got up to about here, or however long I make this piece, then I would fold it up and do 1 stitch from here and 1 stitch from the hat, and continue like that. And that way you're knitting it together. I don't have to sew it afterwards, and the hat would be double lined at that portion. There you go. So that's what he's wanting me to do. That's what he's interested in doing. So I'll probably do that if I don't get bored. That's a lot of stitches, a lot of tiny stitches. Yeah. All right, so that is there. Oh yeah, that's the new hat I just started. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of hats. It's getting colder. I've got a lot of hats going on, right? So having fun with all of that stuff. And let's see, so another one. Oh, if you weren't aware, the stitch pattern came from this book right here. This is the Alice Starmore Charts for Color Knitting. And like I've said multiple times, and you know, we don't think about it, because if you crochet, I'm trying to grab another book. If you just crochet, you're going to look for crochet books. If you knit, you're going to look for knit books. But if you're doing mosaic crochet, why can't you use a graph from a knit book, right? And if you're knitting, why can't you use a graph from mosaic crochet or tapestry crochet or anything else? Of course you can, because the graph doesn't care. So that right there is absolutely fantastic. I'm so thrilled with this particular stitch. I'm probably going to make another one. I mean, I'm not sure what his pattern is going to be. I might make the same. I might make something different. I just know I've got 120 stitches right now. There you go. I can add more. I can take more away. I have power. I have the needles and the yarn. I can do things. I can create with it. You can too. So that's that one right there. The other thing that I've been working on this week is baby stuff. There are 3 babies that I'm aware of currently that are, you know, either in my life right now or going to be in my life in so many more months. One right now is 2 months old, little boy. So I was thinking I'm going to go ahead and make the baby a sweater out of this book. So this right here is the Baby Knits for Beginners by Debbie Bliss. And it's an old book. I've had it for quite some time, over 20 years, right? Love it. And I've made a few things in it. So we're going to find out if I'm better at sewing things together than I was 20 years ago. I like to think that I am, but you know, let's not get proud and let's not get cocky, because we know what happens with that. Like the sweater. I was so proud and wanted to show everybody I did it. I got it back on the needles. You know? Maybe we shouldn't be so proud. So I am working on the sweater and I'm having fun with it. I have the front done. It's either the front or the back. They're both the same, right? So I have the front of the sweater completely done. Look at that. And these are the held stitches right here. They're just a piece of yarn, but that is it. I'm not using the same yarn. I'm using a discontinued Hobby Lobby yarn, and I'm not using the same needle size. So my gauge is coming up about that 6 to 9-ish months. Perfect. That's what I want. I wanted something bigger. Even giving it to our friend and their son, who's 2 months old right now. I'm not sure when we'll see him again. But you want it to where maybe his son can wear it more than once, because it takes some time. Yes, it's faster than making a sweater for myself, but it's still time. It's still time. It's still energy. And I do like the fact that this is a worsted weight yarn and I'm using size 7 needles, only because my size 8s are used on everything else, evidently. So I'm just doing 7s throughout. Normally, for a sweater for myself or anyone else, you would use maybe one size smaller for the ribbing, 1 or 2 sizes, depends, and then do the whole pattern work in a slightly bigger needle. Got it. It's in 7s. It's fine. And then I didn't want to necessarily start on that. I just did. This is the biggest piece, right? And everyone jokes about me with my sleeves. I get that, because I'll get the front done, I'll get the back done. Normally working in the round is just 1 piece. This is 2 pieces I gotta sew, but I'll get that done and I stall on the sleeves. So I did the front, and look at this. It's a sleeve. It's a tiny sleeve. It's a part of a sleeve, but that is going to be the little baby sleeve. Isn't it adorable? It is just such a sweet, simple little geometric pattern. And this is, again, what I was referring to of graphs. This is written out. It would have been great as a graph. You know what I'm getting at? I mean, look at that. That would be great as a graph, but it's not. So like that graph book, it's just knit and purl. So if you did that, all the black dots, purl. There you go. You've got something somebody can touch, and there's the design as opposed to visually with the different colors. I mean, we got talents. We can do it. Oh, this discontinued Hobby Lobby called Tweed Indeed. I got it for 75% off. Yay! And it's time to start using up some of these nice yarns. This is a 46% acetate, 46% cotton, 6% viscose, and 2% polyester. It's a worsted weight yarn. I can wash it, I can dry it, I can iron it, don't bleach it, right? There you go. And so that's great for child sweater, because children do icky things. They do. It's not their fault, but they do. So I'm excited. I really am making the baby stuff. So that's just thrilling me to no ends. So I got that. And then, what was it? Somebody in the comments had made the comment and everything of, hey, with your husband pushing you to work on your granddaughter's sweater, does that mean that his sweater gets to be delayed? Yes, it does. Yeah, he called me out on that today. He did. He's like, hey, how's my sweater coming? You're supposed to be working on mine, you know, and I'm working on the granddaughter's, and I started this baby sweater this week. I mean, that's brand new. And he's like, what? Why are you starting things? Where's my sweater? I want my sweater. So his piece, his is right here. This is the third arm, the saga of the third arm, because he did not like the color pulling of the first one. I mean, to be fair, this does look better. Look how nice it matches my shirt. It does, see? This does look better. It is nice. I just have to finish it, and you know, yeah, so, you know, I got a ways to go on that one. But I've got the body done, and I've got 2 sleeves done. One's usable, one's not. So once I finish that, I'll be able to attach them and then start doing the raglans. And that's what I'm doing. My granddaughter's is I attached all the stuff, and I'm doing that angle right here, the raglan to get up to the neck. And then I'll do the big shawl collar. That's my husband likes the best. I'll do something like that for him, and he'll love it. Besides, I really need to work on it because he just recently got me that really big Arcane Fiberworks order. And I am just dying to play with some of that. And I'm trying to be disciplined. Okay, I'm not being that disciplined because I just started a baby sweater, but I'm trying to be disciplined and not jump on that, because pretty sure on those things, they're going to be big projects. The baby sweater is not a huge project. I mean, it's still our garment, but grabbing multiple skeins of fingering weight yarn, you know, unless you're like some total machine, that takes some time. It just does. Even if you're fast, it takes some time to work through that. And all of it is fingering weight yarn. And, you know, I could make hats with a bunch of it. I really could. I mean, that yarn is spectacular. But with whatever I decide to make with it, it's probably not going to be tiny. And even doing hats, I'm casting on 120 stitches. That's what this is, 120 stitches, right? So it's not tiny, if that makes any sense. And I'm really wanting to play with that. And there's some other things. I did a little organizing on my room, you know, and I found some other things because that's what happens. And that got me really excited. I'm like, oh, I want to play with that. I want to work with that. So I thought I did pretty good with finishing 2 projects that we've already seen and trying to work on my granddaughter's sweater, yes, and getting my son's blanket to get that far with it. I thought that was pretty spectacular. What an amazing week. And there's so many other things going on. And of course, I've got hand objects on the brain, gloves, mittens, something. That's what the project is for Hooker versus Hooker for the month of November. I don't get to start it until 1 November. I'm still looking at patterns and looking at patterns for inspiration, patterns for actual instructions, and try to come up with what I want to do. The colors are black, white, and gray. Okay, got it, game on. So something monochrome, something fun. So if you've got some really cool ideas, but it's something for the hands. They were talking about mittens, fingerless mitts, gloves, something for the hands. They were joking about handcuffs, I don't know, whatever, but you know, something that you can convince is a hand-related thing. That's what I'm going to be making for November. Now, I can't show that until I believe December the 7th is when we do the unveiling for the live on that, but I can hint. And I can, once I decide on my yarn, I can show you my yarn, right? But we know it's gonna be something for the hands. So that has occupied my brain quite a bit. So happy I have most of my socks done. I've got 8 pair done, and I am working on number 9 because I need to get a few more done, all right? But I'm happy that I got the majority of them done, and I do have a couple others, so I could technically be done for the rest of the year, but I don't want to do that. I like to give the kids choices. So here you go. And my middle son, he was over and everything, and he saw this like, ooh, I've got a pair of socks like with this yarn. I'm like, well, you know, you might pick out another one. As long as they fit, they can pick them out. So this is a different color heel and cuff. This here, I decided to go all extra and do different colors on the heels and the cuffs, except for one of the pair that I've done, which, you know, for some people that's standard all the time. For me, that's not. I just normally cast on and go and let the yarn do the talking. I used to do a lot of patterned socks and did some test knitting for other designers, and my name on their first run was actually in the book, right? Not the second and third run that they did, but my name was in the book along with the other people that did the testing and everything for the socks. And I liked doing that, and it was fun, but I just do more geometric shapes if I do any designs in them, or something that's, you know, like 4 to 8 stitches, like a pattern repeat. The Cookie A pattern monkey, her socks, like 20-some thousand people on Ravelry have made those socks that put entries in there in Ravelry. So you know a lot more have made those. And that's a free pattern on knitty.com. But that one is a simple lace repeat, 8 stitches, very easy, very predictable pattern. Got it. So I did a couple of those this year to kind of mix things up a little bit. But beyond that, I've just let the yarn do the talking and having fun with that portion of it. And so my special thing was, ooh, look, I changed out the heels, toes, and cuff. I'm fancy. Yes, I made fancy socks this year. Oh my. So there we go. That's the fun part of it. But let's see, what else? Have I worked on other things? I did, but it's across the room, so we'll just show that some other time. But yeah, this is what I've got going on. I'm doing a lot, having an absolute blast. I'm loving doing the huge blanket and the fact that it's going to get done. The oldest son, he's getting so much this year. He's got the blanket. I've already made, because he's got the biggest feet too, I've already made him 2 pair of socks, one for his birthday and one for Christmas. I'm like, okay, there you go. His birthday is January. It's like, you know, he's supposed to be in December. He's January. His brother was supposed to be whatever. He's December, right? You know, my babies are November, December, and January. So I've got that going on. So he's got that, and he did just get a sweater. My husband gave him the first knit sweater that I made for him earlier this year. So he did get that, and he's getting this blanket. I mean, he's so appreciative. He's so easy to give things to. That's just all there is to it. So I'm having fun with all of this stuff. And you know, it does mama's heart good when one of your kids wants what you're making and requests and asks for it. Like, oh, okay, I'll do that. Yes, you can have that, mommy will make that for you. It does slow down some of the other things, you know, because I'm trying to do the same thing for my husband, and you know, we've got all the girls too, right? I can't forget the girls. And occasionally, well, not occasionally, I've been making things for myself, which is, I don't know, do you make things for yourself? I wasn't, you know, and I like it. I like getting some of my own things, right? I like my hand knit sweaters. Some of them fit a little interesting. That's okay. I'm getting better. But I like my hand knit sweaters. I like these types of things. So I'm sprinkling my things in there along with the other, and with the Arcane Fiberworks, how could you not want to, right? So I think I'm just pretty much enjoying my space physically, my space mentally, all the projects that are going on, and all the things that I'm dreaming about making, right? I mean, isn't that part of it? You know, we buy yarn. Okay, that's a hobby. Collecting, right? We collect patterns, free ones paid for and everything, you know, that type of thing. We hunt the stuff down. Yes, definitely hunt the stuff down and have fun with that. And then dreaming about all the things and looking through the books. I don't do the adult coloring books that they have with the color pencils. I think they're beautiful. I am not criticizing at all. I think they're stunning. I personally don't do them. I do have one, you know, I do, and I worked on one page, not a glitter, but it took time away from my knitting and crocheting. I'm like, oh yeah, I liked it, it's pretty, but I'd rather, you know, have my fiber arts and stuff as far as that goes. So I'll come in here and just get lost with it. I mean, you can do that if you like Ravelry, Surf Ravelry and everything. You can do that with the patterns. I have an actual physical pattern book library that I have been collecting for decades, you know, so I can come in here and just pull out a handful of magazines that are 30, 40 years old, no joke, and flip through those one page at a time and dreaming about the things. And, you know, well, especially since they're 30 plus years old, you know, what's old is new, right? You know, that vintage look is back. You know, what would you change? What would you do? What colors? Do it with a different yarn. I never want to use the yarn that they use. Heaven forbid. Why would I want to make it easy on myself? I have to do it where it requires math, right? I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that are the same way. Like, what? This is my gauge. What gauge does it say I'm supposed to have? Yeah, we can do math. We can math that. So that's what I'm doing. So that is my fun stuff with all of my crafty goodness and just having an absolute blast with every bit of it. I really hope for each and every one of you that you have that in your lives, just a smidgen of that, if not everything in your life, that it just brings you absolute joy. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. You guys have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to be. And I will talk to you again later. Bye-bye.